Yo, what's up everyone, and welcome back to a brand new video. It's Redbird here, and today, como dice, lo prometido es deuda. I am here with the house rankings for Halloween Horror Nights of last year, of course, 2025. Of course, it's like I said, it is late, but hey, better late than never, ¿verdad? Better late than never. I said it in the video that I uploaded, the last video. So if you guys would love to check it out, it is right there. Y yeah, hay para que lo miren, pero como les digo, we are here today for the house rankings of Horror Nights. Now, yes, of course, Horror Nights ended almost 3 months ago, ¿verdad? It ended November. Y pues yeah, it's January, but it's like I said, I owe it to you guys, I owe it to everyone that was following along for the ride and everything. So here's the video, and these will be the house rankings for Horror Nights 2025. Yes. So in case if you guys forgot, ¿verdad? Por si se les olvidó, because, hey, that's on me, But these were the houses. It was Fallout, Jason Universe, Monstros 3, The Ghost of Latin America, Scarecrow, WWE's Horrors of the White Six, Terrifier, The Terror Tram by Blumhouse, Poltergeist, and last but not least, Five Nights at Freddy's. Yes, those are the big ones, ¿verdad? Y before I get into this video, of course, if you guys wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button for more content like this that will be coming your way, So before we get into this, real quick también, aparte, rapidito, I would like to say that I am ranking these attractions based on how scary they were, because they were not by wait times or none of that, strictly right now is the miedo, the scariness, the todo, because if it was off wait times, Five Nights at Freddy's would blow everyone out of the water. That thing was crazy. But it is just about how scary they were, not by wait times or nothing else. Just, when you're walking, who makes you scream the most, what happens, y todo, and how it is. So let's get right into this, and we're going to dive right into the house rankings. So starting us off at number 9, we have Poltergeist. Yes, Poltergeist is number 9 because it was good. It was a good house, it was nice. But in terms of horror and being jump scared in the maze, it just didn't happen for me. It was more of a paranormal with the beds moving and the cabinets opening. It was really cool, but it just didn't get me in terms of being scared. There wasn't that much to be scared of. The jump scares weren't really that there. It was a cool house, don't get me wrong. Of course, all the sets and everything moving was awesome. But in terms of fear, it just was not there. La verdad, no estaba ahí. So that's why it gets the number 9 spot. So moving on to number 8, we have Five Nights at Freddy's. Yes, we have Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, this maze was one of the coolest mazes. It looked surreal. It was too crazy and it was too wild. It was amazing. It was literally from the movies and the games come to life. I've seen the movie, I've played the games when I was younger and everything, and it was literally everything that you imagined in the game brought to life. Seeing Freddy and his gang was wild, but the fear it didn't bring it as much. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I know it's really hard, of course, animatronics and all, but it was, being controlled, it was amazing, but the fear just was not there. It wasn't there as much. I love that maze. That maze was really awesome. It was really good, but it just was not there, la verdad. And I'm really sorry I wasn't able to record because I only went to Horror Nights like 4 times and I only went on it once. And that one time I went, my phone let me down because I didn't have storage. I am sorry, that is on me, rookie move, rookie mistake, so I'll be more prepared for the future. But that's why I do not have footage for Five Nights at Freddy's, ¿verdad? But man, what an amazing house it was. But in terms of fear, no pegó tanto, no pegó tanto. So now moving on to number 7, we have Fallout. Now, with Fallout, it was a good maze. It was a good maze, but in order to fully understand the house, you needed to watch the show. You needed to see it because You know, I had friends that went inside the maze and they're just confused the whole time. You know, but for in my example, since I saw some of it of the show, I was able to understand a good amount, and it was really good. You know, it was really good. I did enjoy the parts that I saw because I enjoyed those parts from the show. Now I didn't finish the show, but the parts that I did see entendí why. You know, I understood por qué hicía what he did and what happened in the maze and everything. You know, but it was good. And you know, it did have some really decent jump scares. It did have its moments. You know, it wasn't as wild like other ones, but you know, it was pretty good and it was really solid. I really enjoyed it. You know, so Fallout gets the number 7 spot. So now moving on, at number 6 we have the Terror Tram Enter the Blumhouse. Now the Terror Tram, I really enjoyed it. You know, this year it was really good. And it was really so much better compared to the previous years. You know, it was Blumhouse, but they added more attractions from Blumhouse this year compared to last year. Because of course, if you guys remember, last year it was Blumhouse. The year before that, I think it was the insects guy. You know, I forgot what it was, but he looked creepy. But the whole insects thing, so it didn't really hit like crazy. But this year with Blumhouse, they added more stuff and more productions, more companies that they have, and movies, you know. So they added The Exorcist and The Conjuring y eso. And those alone, you know, they make your heart race with fear, la verdad. You know, Conjuring and The Exorcist, for me, those guys were crazy, you know. And The Maze is Past and those movies, están locos, you know. So with those improvements that they added, it really made the Terror Tram more enjoyable and more likable. You know, of course, they had The Purge, you know, they had Megan, they had the grabber from the Black Phone y todo eso, and those guys are really awesome. But I feel the fact that they added The Conjuring and The Exorcist really boosted up the level of fear and more excitement for the Terror Tram that it went to with this year, you know? So it was really excited and it was just better overall. So it deserves really great spot. And it was really good and it was really fun, you know. So now we're going on to the top 5. So now coming in at number 5, we have the star, one of the main guys from this year's Horror Nights event, Terrifier. Yes, Terrifier, of course. Art the Clown was everywhere across the park. You know, he had his moments. He was going wild. Y la verdad, Terrifier was awesome. But this house was many things, you know. I'm gonna be honest, la verdad, it was many things. It was gory, it smelled, it was scary, and it was just an overall crazy house, you know. It was so crazy, it was amazing, but man, you know, this thing was crazy, la verdad. The goriness and todo was extreme, you know. Obviously it followed, you know, stuff from the movies and everything, kills and moments he had from the movies and stuff, which was wild. That thing was wild, you know, with acid and all, like that thing was crazy. It smelled and everything, like it was a wild house, you know. But it's like I said, you know, it was more of the gory aspect compared to the actual fear, you know, to the actual fear aspect. You're walking and, you know, there's moments that you're like, oh wait, si te agarra bien, you know, he'll get you and he'll scare you good. But like I said, you know, it's more of the gory factor that really reels you in, that you're like, damn, what is he doing? Ta loco, you know, like obviously, you know. Yeah, see. But it was really good. It was good. And yeah, it deserves it. You know, number 5, la verdad, it was good. Because these next 4, these guys were, they were something. They were something and they stepped up their levels like crazy. So now moving on to number 4. In número 4, we got Monstruos 3. This house was scary. La Muelona, La Ciguanaba, and La Llorona. Ay, Dios mío, esas mujeres, cómo te asustan, la verdad. Pues son latinas, you know, what do you expect? Pero, they had that extra fear factor, la verdad, que nombre. They were crazy in this house. They were crazy. They had a lot of jump scares and crazy moments, you know. Of course, you know, the cool thing is that when walking through those houses is that they each get their own little section, you know, they get their own part. You know, in one part te sale La Ciguanaba, and the next one La Muelona, and then La Llorona, you know. So each moment that you're walking, they got you, you know, they get you, they have their moments, they jump scare you like crazy. And plus, not to mention the big ass bruja that comes out, you know, hombre loco. This house had you running for your life, you know. This thing had you going and this thing had you crazy. They come out, And at the end, they all join forces. I see like the Avengers y todas te asustan, accumulate at the same time. Yeah, you know, tan locas, you know, son latinas, ¿verdad? Gotta love them, but man, these guys, whew, estaban locas. So that house was really great. And finally, the top three. So moving on to number 3, Scarecrow. Now, this house was dark. You struggled to see inside with how dark Todo was inside. Like, it was so dark, and then boom, te sale a Scarecrow. And I'm not talking like the Wizard of Oz. Nah, ese vato, he's light work. He's nothing compared to these guys, bro. Like, this guy, these houses, man, Scarecrow was wild. They went wild with it. And man, it was scary. But what a house. Easily top 3. And it's always something unexpected, you know, that would happen to you, you know, with how dark it is, you know, but with the vibe and the music that was playing, you know, of course, Slash had his old moments, but it was awesome with his music. Like, you got hyped, ready to face these guys, but the only thing you'll be facing is your new fears with these guys, because, no, these guys were crazy. They were amazing, tall scarecrows, short scarecrows. They had everything. Tuvieron todo. You know, so these scarecrows were amazing. What an amazing scary house, man. Like, it was so good. But finally, we are reaching the final 2. And coming in at number 2, we got WWE The Horrors of the Wyatt 6. Now, this house, of course, you know, is from WWE's faction or group known as the Wyatt 6. Now, this house, I know, surprised and shocked a lot of people from how good and scary it was. I'm really happy for that because I have been watching wrestling, and especially WWE, since I was about 6, you know, 7 years old. No, antes de que empiece, no, nada de 6, 7, no. Like, I didn't intend that to happen, but legit, I've been watching wrestling since I was like 6, 7 years old, you know, like, calmados, you know. But man, like, this house was really good, and it even surprised me a little bit, because I know, like, the masks, you know, they're creepy, and I know how they work it all, but dude, like, I expected them, like, yo te conozco, no pasa nada, you know, but boom, sale freaking the husky, the pig y todo, you know, te sale y todo, and they get you. Like, I was walking with my friends, y de tanto susto que lo dio, he fell to the ground, and it was crazy, but it was so much fun, and it was amazing, you know. But it was an amazing scary house, and I love the tribute to the Fiend as well. You know, if you guys don't know, his name is Bray Wyatt, and it was amazing because, you know, sadly he passed away, but he was one of the guys that brought like fear, and he brought his visions y todo to WWE, you know, during COVID era and everything. So it was really nice that they brought everything that he hoped for to real life with this, and it was an amazing tribute, and it was amazing. Like, Horror Nights a la rifó, you know, Horror Nights WWE. They did an amazing house with this. They did an amazing job with this house, and la verdad, it was wonderful. It couldn't have been any better. But now, finally, last but not least, we are moving to number 1. And number 1 is Jason Universe. You know, this house did not disappoint at all. It was amazing, and it just felt so surreal and crazy to see a horror icon like Jason hunt you down. The fact that you step into Camp Crystal Lake and this guy is hunting you down like crazy, todo, you're running and walking, and he comes out of nowhere with a bow, with anything, he's gonna get you. You know, I didn't expect this house to be as scary as I thought it would be, you know, since the beginning, because I love horror movies and slasher movies. You know, I love the Halloween and Jason Universe and all that with those horror icons, but de que son de miedo, no, you know. But man, the effects and everything that they did in this one was amazing. It was amazing. You know, he had all his noises from the he, you know, how como salen, he attacks people y todo. It's wild. It was easily the scariest house from this year, you know, at Horror Nights, and hopefully it returns. I don't think it'll return, you know, this year, technically 2026, you know. I don't think it'll return this year, but, you know, I'd love for it to return, you know, because it was such a great house, and it was amazing, you know. So I really love this house. It was such a fun to walk through. It was such a fun to record and everything. Like, it was awesome. So Jason Universe takes the cake as the number 1 spot. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude the house rankings for Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. You know, I'm sorry it was late, you know, but I owe it to you guys. And of course, like always, I appreciate the support and everything that you guys have given the videos. So thank you, muchas gracias, you know. And ya con eso, pues ya nos vamos, you know. So please like, subscribe, share, comment the videos y todo. And yeah, and this is Riverbird, and I'll see you all on the next one. Adios, bye, peace.